Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB bikini pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Today, we are speaking with Emily Plajer. She is a 26-year-old realtor in South Florida and founder of Tall Girl Gang, her business specializing in helping competitors nail their posing and, of course, representing the tall athletes in the competition world and creating amazing clothing and apparel for them as well to represent. She started her competition journey in 2013, took 5 years off, and made her return in 2019 with the goal of going after her pro card. After earning top 5 at junior nationals and national championships, she returned to the national champion stage again in 2020, which is where she won her pro card, and in the same month won her first pro show, which actually qualified her for the 2020 Olympia. So welcome. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm awesome. So happy you're here. And I'm going to ask you this. So what's something you do or a ritual you have right before your heel hits the stage?
I actually, right when you're able to look into the audience, I look out there and find my family. Just seeing their face and the smiles on their face or the nervousness on their face really just gets me excited to get on stage and show them what I love doing. So that's something I do.
Oh, that's awesome. I actually love doing that too when I'm in the line before going on, like looking around and you see people, even if it,
Yes.
like at USA's, I didn't know, I didn't have any family or friends or like boyfriend in the crowd, but I saw familiar faces and I was like, oh, I love seeing it. Like it just
Yeah.
brings that reality level to it for sure. Okay, so why don't we just get right into your journey as well as, your approach to prepping for the Olympia and just your game plan, but even more than that, obviously, who you are and all that you are doing. So let's just start with what sparked your interest in competing in the first place.
My mom, she competed back in the day. So seeing her in the gym and how her body changed from working out and seeing how she was going through a competition prep really inspired me to try it out.
I love that. And I think that's really amazing because I've heard you share that before. And I was curious what your like perspective was of seeing your mom go through that process. Like what was maybe like how was her approach different to your approach, or what was your perspective on that growing up and seeing that?
So it was back in 2013. Definitely competition preps and shows were totally different as they are now. So just seeing her push through, because I mean, prepping isn't easy. So seeing her be able to conquer that and at the age she was is really inspiring and definitely helped me get through my preps as well, seeing her do that.
How often did your mom compete?
So she, I think, just competed for 2 years. She does not compete now. She's a nurse. So,
Awesome.
but yeah.
I know she's really proud of you when you became an IFBB pro. How does she just feel about your competing altogether? Like, is she curious about your approach, or did she take a different approach than you did?
Um, as to me competing now and prepping and stuff like that,
Yeah, like when she sees how you're approaching your prep.
she is extremely supportive. Like I said, back in the day, 2013 preps were totally different. The food I ate back then was totally different than what I do now. So anything I do regarding this, she's extremely supportive. And back in 2013, I had the goal of going pro, stepping on the Olympia stage. So finally seeing that happen really is super exciting for her.
Oh, that's awesome. I know you had taken a lot of time off after that season in 2013 for yourself. What was it that made you want to step back, or maybe led to that burnout that you're now that you maybe now move past and don't experience anymore?
So 2013, 2014, when I competed, I was 19 years old. I was in college trying to find my path on what it was I wanted to do. Um, and the last show I had done back then was a show I placed last at, and that really it made me want to hang up the heels. And my time wasn't right back then, so I did school for a little bit and dropped out, and then eventually we moved down to Florida. I turned 21 within that time, so I experienced the 21-year-old life, going out, partying, drinking. And then it was a couple years later where I was started to work out again, and I got a trainer, and I had missed that part of my life because I'm growing up, I was extremely competitive, was always involved in sports. So there was just something that I was missing, and super, super cool to finally realize what it was and how fulfilling it is. So,
Oh, that's super cool. What were you studying in school?
so I started off, I had this dream of wanting to be a doctor ever since
Mhm.
I was in kindergarten. And then I took chemistry class, and I was like, this is not for me. So
Yeah.
then, since I got into competing, I switched to nutrition, and I was like, oh, I could do this, become a registered dietitian, and just was not was not in it. My heart was not in it, and it's hard to force something when your heart's not in it. You're not happy with yourself, and it's you're not happy with your life. So I had dropped out of school.
Absolutely. I understand that feeling so well, and it's hard to make a change, especially when for so long in your life it was something you saw yourself doing or
Hmm.
pursuing, and then to take a step back and go, that's not really what I want.
Hmm.
And I want to prioritize my happiness and my passion. And of course, now you are appearing to live more passionately and more on purpose in terms of you've started a business, you're doing posing coaching. So, what inspired you to now start Tall Girl Gang?
So after I had won my pro debut, I had a lot of messages in my inbox from girls saying, thank you for so much for putting tall girls on the map. It's so nice to see that tall girls can be competitive in the pro league. And that really it really got me excited. And also I didn't know, honestly, looking from the outside and not being a part of the pro league at the time, I didn't know that it was like that. That the taller girls weren't placing, I guess. I guess the average height was maybe what, 5'6", 5'5", around there. Um, so that's what really inspired me to start that and to start that movement, because of all the girls that had reached out to me after I had won my pro debut.
I think that's awesome because when people say tall competitors, there's only a few that really come to mind to me. And
Hmm.
I was wondering if being a taller girl, well, by the way, how tall are you?
So I'm not extremely tall. I'm only 5'7.5". So I mean, I guess
That's pretty tall.
in yeah, I guess in the competition world, maybe 5'5" is maybe average. But yeah, so that's how tall I am.
Okay, and so when you were growing up, did you feel like you were taller than a lot of people, or in competing, you said you weren't really aware of it? Like, how has this all influenced your confidence?
So growing up, I was actually the shortest in my grade. Um, I didn't
Wow.
I didn't hit my growth spurt until probably late junior year in high school. I played volleyball, and I was always the libero because
Me
I
too.
was so short, or the setter. And then junior
Yep.
year of high school, I hit my growth spurt, and I was one of the taller girls. And so so growing up, I did not experience that height that I do, I guess, now in my life.
Definitely. And I think, something I hear a lot of taller competitors say is next to shorter girls, they tend to not look as muscular. So, have you received feedback similar to that?
Yes, a lot of my feedback was more size. Definitely on my legs. I have longer legs, so that is size on my legs, my glutes, everything, because I have longer muscle bellies. So we need to fill those out to be competitive.
Was that after your pro debut that you heard that?
Hmm. Yep.
Okay, got it. And at your pro day, I mean, let's just go back in time. Let's go back all the way to when you decided, okay, I'm going to get back into competing. How did you know you were actually ready to return? Like, what was it? I know you said you felt like there was something missing, but what was it that then made you go, I'm going to do a competition?
Started working out with the trainer and we started talking about doing a show. And I remember putting on my suit and practicing posing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I I want to do this. I want to get back into competing. I had this goal back when I had first started and I need to reach it. I'm going to reach it. So I think getting back into working out and putting my competition suit on really inspired me to get back into prepping for a show and step on stage.
And when you actually made your return, you started performing really well, like in terms of placement. So, how long was your prep to return back? And then, like in that meantime, were you focused on building? Were you still training hard, or were you just focused on like essentially that what you referred to as like the 21-year-old norm?
um, so back when I first got into it in 2019, I did not have a coach. I kind of used the stuff that I used and remembered back in 2013, 2014. And then I had a friend helping me with prep as well. So that's honestly, I just used that same stuff to get me on stage for my first show and then the second show as well. And then eventually I had hired a coach to help because I wanted to step on a national stage and wanted to get my pro card.
And when you did get your pro card, that was after, I believe, 3 national shows, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. What was your experience like at each of them, and how did it like change from show to show once you got that guidance from your coach and started working towards that goal of becoming a pro?
So my first national stage I stepped on was junior nationals in Chicago. So just the experience of flying up to Chicago because I'd never flown anywhere for a show. So
Ah.
just that was crazy. And then I was only with my coach for 6 weeks leading into that show. So there's very little changes that we could make. And going to that show and placing top three at a national show it was pretty exciting and just made me even more excited to get on another national stage and work towards that goal. And then in November we did nationals in Miami and we're one spot away from our pro card there. Um, it really, it really, it, I mean, placing top three is great, but the fact that I didn't hit my goal in 2019 really, I did not like that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I kind of fell off a little bit um, in December, and I put
Mm-hmm.
on probably too much weight that was necessary. Um, and then so yeah, and then started prep in January in hopes to do junior USA's. Um, that kept on getting pushed back, and I thought honestly I wasn't going to step on stage in 2020 because of everything that had happened with quarantine and stuff like that. And actually stepping on stage in November at nationals again and winning my pro card was a great feeling.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, you go through all of that, you're so close, you can taste it. You get upset with
Mm-hmm.
yourself because you don't. And sometimes that can create like doubt or shame or like, oh, it's like that disconnect from the goal. And I know you mentioned that resulted in you like struggling with post-show binging. And that's
Mm-hmm.
definitely something, we cover on this show, is that's what I love to support girls with. But I was hoping you could maybe expand on what that looked like for you and maybe how that's changed now that you have the Olympia in mind. And you've mentioned in other interviews, you're very goal oriented, you like having a show date. So how have you been doing
Mm-hmm.
this off season, and how do you feel about your current approach?
This reverse has been great. Usually, so past reverses, I was always focused on the number on the scale. I didn't want to get above a certain weight or I was fat. I had gained too much. This reverse, we really just focused on how comfortable I feel in my body instead of focusing on the number on the scale. So my weight is higher than it's been before, but I feel comfortable and still training hard. I'm enjoying food. So that's definitely the approach that we took this time, is just making sure that I feel comfortable in my body.
I love that. I think that is a really important and key takeaway, even just already from this episode. A massive golden nugget here is that instead of focusing on a number to determine what you were going to necessarily do, you were more focused on how you were feeling. And I imagine
Mm-hmm.
some of that has something to do with performance, and you are freaking killing it in the gym. I love watching your videos. I think that's awesome. Seriously. And you train really, I mean, you train hard with your coach in person, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very fortunate to have him local to me. So I train with him um, 3 or 4 days a week. And then the other day I train with my teammate, Danielle. She's a figure pro. So having her join in on my workouts really pushes me because she's a beast. So I have to keep up with her. So yeah.
That's awesome. And of course, with the feedback being to put more size on, it's nice to have people there who can push you. And I remember you did an IGTV with your coach, and he was, or you guys were expanding on like how you actually had to go to the hospital at one
Yes.
point. What happened exactly? Like, what was that experience for you, and how did that come about?
So my biggest thing when the weight gets heavy is I kind of hold my breath,
Uh-huh.
um, which is not good. Don't ever do that. Make sure you breathe. Uh, so we were on the hack squat and we're doing a massive drop set. We're done the last couple of reps and I was holding my breath and I had kicked something in my neck and it shot to my head.
Oh
So
no.
after I racked the weight, I just dropped to the ground and we tried to do other exercises. And I'm not one to give up. Like I will push through, but this pain was not, I couldn't handle it. So he had to drive me to the hospital um and yeah. So that was an experience. I always, so now when training with him, he always says, breathe, make sure you're breathing, because I always tease him. I was like, I don't want to have another hospital experience. So
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. I've not had that feeling, but I've heard about that feeling where my boyfriend's described it as like a massive headache.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, and it's usually from like pressing movements with the legs, and I had never even heard of that before. And then when I watched your video, I was like, oh, I think that's what she went through.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's it. It was not fun.
You're like, but I'm still pushing hard. So how have
Yes.
your like do your programs shift from prep to improvement season, or from improvement season back into a prep?
As in weight training?
Mm-hmm.
No, we still are lifting heavy in prep. I have a video where I posted. I was 9 days out doing the hack squat, and he still had me lifting heavy because we have come to find out that if we keep lifting heavier close to the show, our muscles are staying fuller. So that's something that we do leading up to a show.
Love that. I think sometimes girls worry about like injury. Do you do any
Mm-hmm.
type of injury prevention or things to maintain just like your overall function so that you can keep showing up that way?
Just stretching, and then I get massages and see the chiropractor regularly. So
Okay. So not much change. Actually, nothing really changes with your training in terms of weightlifting. What about
mhm.
nutrition or cardio?
Cardio right now is very, very light. Do about 15 minutes fasted and then 15 minutes post right now. Just because I doing fasted really, it keeps me sane. I love waking up and keeping the same routine as if I'm in prep. So that's what I do. That, and then in prep, like definitely the cardio will get bumped up closer to a show and stuff like that. Nutrition wise, definitely higher calories. In the off season, more room to eat out, have a couple cookies here and there. That's my weak spot. But when I'm in prep and I do not go off my meal plan.
Yes. I love that approach. Like, I think it's great to have and know that there is flexibility in like an improvement season, because that
Hmm.
almost like fortifies that work we're doing in a prep as well, where it's like, okay, I know I can push through this. I know I'm really enjoying this. Like you said, there's a lot of things from your routine that you even keep from prep to improvement season. And I think that's honestly such a huge key to success, is just having a routine that you
Hmm.
really enjoy. And I think also a part of that is having a coach who understands your needs.
Yes.
And you started working with your coach to really pursue this pro card goal. So, how
Hmm.
have you guys evolved in your relationship over the shows you've done to determine what's best for you?
So I pretty much see him every day. So I call him my big brother because that's how close we are.
Oh, that's cool.
But with check-ins, I closer to a show, I check in every day with him. So I'll send him a picture of my front, back, and then I'll send him a video, and then I'll send my weight, and that's it. Um, we know now that we've done a couple shows together that um, he knows that I'm following the plan. I never complain or anything, so he really doesn't have to say much to me. So he'll just send me my updated diet for the day, stuff like that. But we work very very well together. So.
That's really cool. I love it that you guys also train in person. I feel like that adds an element of investment on both ends. And obviously, you guys have now achieved not just an amazing goal of earning your pro card, but then also winning at your first pro show, qualifying for the Olympia. But what was it that made you guys say, yeah, let's go straight into a pro debut?
So being that it was local here to Fort Lauderdale, 15 minutes from my house, um, we just wanted to jump in to see what we needed to work on to be competitive in the pro league because I have goals in the pro league that I want to achieve. So I wanted to know what we could get started on for the 2021 season. So that's why, being that it was local and being that it was the week after, we were already in shape. Why not just prep for another week and jump in? So that was our main goal for doing the show, is to get feedback.
Oh no, that's so awesome. And it ended up obviously moving that needle heaps forward for you. What are your goals in the IFBB Pro League?
Um, I would love to win other shows, and then I would love to be Miss Olympia one day.
Love that.
I think that is every girl's dream, but I, I think I can make it happen. I would definitely work hard to make sure it does happen. So.
I love that. Taking pride in the process as well as the title is such a great thing to hear, honestly. And I can tell you really do believe that, and think that is because you show up for yourself every day and you're executing. And a big part of that is obviously your mindset. So, did anything change from becoming a pro to then prepping to compete as a pro to then, which has happened in such a short period of time, to then now prepping for the Olympia?
No, I'm still training hard. I'm still following my plan. Just because I received my pro card, just because I won my pro debut, doesn't mean I can let up.
Mm.
There's girls out there that work harder than me, that are going to, that have the same goal as me. So I have to make sure I keep on pushing.
If you did become Miss Bikini Olympia, how would you want to use that platform? Like, what motivates you about that title?
Yes, it is a title, but it's bigger than, I guess, the title. I mean, I love that Janet is giving back to the community, and I think that's how I would do it as well. Growing up, there were so many people that had helped me out, and just in life now that have helped me out, and I would want to give back to them. So definitely, charities are a big thing for me. I would definitely love to start a charity and use that platform to help it. Just giving back. I love making people smile. I love making people happy. So using that platform to reach people that maybe have gone through the same thing I have or something like that, I just would love to help them.
That's beautiful. I think that there's something to be said about someone who knows what they want, but also knows what they would do once they have it. And I think that's a really important thing. And it says a lot about you and how you've spent time thinking about this goal. And of course, soon you'll be, maybe not soon, but it will come really soon. You'll actually be stepping on stage. And someone had submitted a question wanting to know if you feel any added pressure to do well in the future, given the quote unquote immediate success out the gate as a pro. Obviously, there was years going into this, but as soon
Mhm.
as you entered the pro league.
There is, I mean, honestly, there is a little pressure because I had won my pro debut. So I know a lot of eyes are going to be on me when I do my next competition. But I mean, I'm in this for the long haul. So I, I, I don't think I should feel the pressure because there's going to be other shows where I can improve on and do well at. So yes, there is a little pressure, but if I don't win the show again, it's okay. Like I'm still going to do another show.
Love that. It's like at the end of the day, you're still an athlete, loving this
Hmm.
sport, competing in it. Like you said, you're in it for the long run. So it's like, why rush something when you can really enjoy it and take it all in and have the experiences you want as an athlete? And going into this pro debut, obviously that was a quick turnaround. So how did you approach posing for that show and like putting together your look?
So honestly, I did not change my routine from nationals. I know in the pro league you add in the walk.
Mhm.
I did not. I just did my same routine. And just went up there and smiled and felt comfortable. So that's what I didn't change anything on my posing.
That's super cool. I love that you didn't change anything and you still got a really awesome result, because that literally speaks to the things that we hear all the time, which is, the more you show, the more that they'll see to necessarily pick at. But did you slow
Hmm.
yourself down, or did you just go through it the way you had always done it?
Um, I kind of blacked out on stage when I went up there for the first time. Um, I think I was a little slower. In line, honestly, I was debating is should I add in this walk? Are the other girls adding in this walk? Like, what should I do? And I came to the conclusion, no, we're just gonna do your routine. You're most comfortable with that. Just go up there and just smile big. And
Wow. That's awesome. Man, I just think it's so cool because, well, that's how I found you, honestly, was from you winning that show. So watching that journey kind of unfold after the fact was cool, because you could tell a lot of people were immediately very inspired by you. And you yourself, you were up there with girls who were warming up for the Olympia,
mhm.
which says a lot, about what you brought to the stage. And I was wondering how it felt for you to not only share the stage with other amazing women in the sport, but also come out on top and qualify for that Olympia. Like, what was that feeling actually like for you?
I mean, it was an honor standing up to those girls that I've looked up to and followed leading up to my pro card. But coming out on top, it just confirmed that anything I set my mind to, I'm able to achieve. And I just got to keep working harder and harder to make sure I achieve those other goals that I have.
Yes. By the way, did you ever get an invite to the Arnold, or is that something?
I haven't heard anything about that. I know they postponed it to possibly September, but no, I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I'm so
Oh,
curious. I'm very excited
yeah,
for
I
that.
hope to be able to step on that stage too, being from Ohio. It'd be really cool.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing. And you're in Florida now and you're working as
Hmm.
a realtor?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So you left school, you got into real estate. Now, how did that unfold? And is that something that you feel is where you belong, or are you now leaning more towards like the posing coaching?
Um, so when I moved down here, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was doing the hospitality, the country club jobs, stuff like that. And then I love competing. And starting out, I was not making any money doing it, so I needed something that was flexible in order to fund my competitions and traveling and stuff like that. So I got my license in real estate, and yeah, it's not something I'm extremely passionate about. It's something that helps me fund my competition passion. So that is why I do that.
That's awesome. I think there's something, to be said about that is taking gratitude for what it is bringing you, which is super cool. And obviously, if it allows you to live this lifestyle that you really enjoy, then that's always worth celebrating. And you're
Mhm.
developing so you have Tall Girl Gang. Now, what's your goal with Tall Girl Gang?
Honestly, I just want other tall girls out there to know that they can do well in this sport. I didn't know that that was a feeling that they weren't. I didn't think they were able to. But yeah, that's my goal with Tall Girl Gang, is to tell tall girls out there that you can do well. So don't give up on this sport.
Mm, That's so cool. And are you planning on doing any shows leading into the Olympia?
So I just got a surprise. I called it an early birthday present because my birthday is next Tuesday. For my coach today, when he was training me, telling me that I'm this amount of weeks out. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh,
So yes, we are gonna do a show before the Olympia.
dang, that's exciting.
Yeah, and it's a big show. So I'm nervous. I'm excited because I know the girls that I'll be against did very well at the Olympia. So I mean, I'm nervous.
I have a feeling you're keeping this secret.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think that's totally fine. I'm picking up on clues, which is great.
You can say it's pretty local to me. Just quick a quick hop across Florida.
Love that. Oh, how exciting. And it's gonna be
Yeah.
cool, like you said, to just see how you do and get even more feedback, especially because now
Hmm.
you've been building, or you have been building. And I noticed something. This is kind of random, but I noticed that you had changed your suit color, like from teal and green colors to now a bold red. Is that something you keeping, or like what inspired that?
Just I wanted something different. CJ Elite, she makes my suits, so she had recommended let's try the red. Let's spice it up this season. So I'll be keeping that for this season as well. I really like how it meshes with my blonde hair.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, another listener wanted to know what your biggest life lesson or takeaway has been from competing.
Um, that I think I said this before, that you're capable of anything you set your mind to. Prep is hard, takes a lot of discipline, and just being able to complete a prep, you should be so proud of yourself. So um, don't be hard on yourself at the end if you don't place well. The fact that you completed a prep is amazing itself. So that's probably my biggest thing, that you can do anything you set your mind to.
I think that's awesome. And were there times in your life where you felt like maybe certain things weren't achievable for you, or where you experienced self-doubt?
Definitely when I first got into competing, and um, I placed okay, but I wasn't very competitive back then. So back then, I didn't think that the goal of becoming a pro was achievable for me. But yeah,
But you proved yourself wrong.
yes, and super exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. And are you practicing your posing, or are you changing your posing? You're gonna keep your nationals routine?
No, I'm gonna definitely. I'll add that walk in there. I'll add
Yeah.
that walk, and I'll definitely change some stuff up, and definitely before I step on the Olympia stage.
That's so cool. I'm excited for you. It's gonna be cool to see you realize a dream. And of course, something that you've talked about that's really stood out to me is your appreciation for life every day and really taking it and celebrating it and getting the most out of it. And I know that when you were younger, you experienced the tremendous loss of your father. And I was hoping you could share how that maybe impacted your life or your overall perspective on it.
Yeah, so at the age of 13, I'd lost my dad to brain cancer. His death anniversary is actually coming up the 24th this month. I think it'll be 14 years. Just from going through that at the age of 13, I learned at a very young age that life's too short, and that you need to go after anything you want in life because you never know when your life may end. So some things I do is I never go to bed angry. Like, say my boyfriend and I have a argument or something earlier in the day, I make sure that we talk it out and we never go to bed angry. I make sure I talk to my family every day. They live on the other side of Florida, so just a quick phone call to my nana, anything like that, and just treat people how you would want to be treated because you don't know what type of day they're having or what their life is like. So those are, from going through that at a young age, those are some things that I have carried with me through life to make sure that I'm living life to the fullest.
Oh my gosh, those are incredibly powerful. And I appreciate you sharing them with us, especially just how you consider how not only how you want to be treated and how you want to treat others, but also how you want to live your life and how important it is for you to go after what you want and be happy and know that your relationships and your family are intact and feel that love. And I think you've been with your boyfriend for a long time now, right?
Yeah, it'll be 6 years in April. That's a
Oh,
long
that's
time.
awesome. Oh, yeah. I have 6 years coming up too, actually in March. So I know
Wow.
it's
Is there a ring coming?
I we're not in a rush. We're just like that's always the first question, right?
Yeah, same.
You're like, oh, that's it. I mean, yeah, no, but we've talked about it.
Yeah. No
So
rush.
how has he responded to your evolution? Because you've 6 years ago, what was that? I mean,
Uh,
2015.
yeah.
So that was a couple years after you had done your first show. You were in the middle of your time off. So how has he maybe responded to you getting into the sport again?
So he was not familiar with this world at all. He had worked out, but never knew what competing was. So the very beginning, when I first got back into it in 2019, he was not a fan. And I had never been in a relationship while prepping, so I wasn't sure what my role was, what the boundaries were to him in being in a relationship. So I didn't figure that out until my most recent prep for nationals in 2020. So yeah, I can say our relationship was not the best because I was in prep, and there was times he had said, I don't think I can do this, and I had said, well, this is my passion, I love doing this, I need you to be supportive of me. If not, it's okay. Like, it's okay. I want you to be happy. So yeah, in the beginning, he was not supportive. And then the prep in 2020 for nationals was when we had gotten into a big argument about something. And later that day, I had realized something, I don't know what it was, but I snapped out of it and realized like, I want to be with him. So I need to make sure I'm still keeping it at my end. Just because I'm in prep, it's my choice. I can't slack on our relationship. I still have to give that 50-50. So he always jokes, he always says that this past prep was the best prep ever. And I,
Hmm.
and I agree because I don't know what it was. It just, I snapped out of it. And like, all I want is his support. Like, that's all I want. So, yeah. And realize what it is that I need to do well in prep and what I can't slack on and stuff like that. Our relationship doesn't stop just because I'm prepping for a show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. What were some of those things that you realized you had to change, or maybe that when you were in prep, you like stopped doing or stopped prioritizing that then you realized, okay, I need to actually be doing this?
Just I guess being compassionate to him. When you get hungry, you get a little ouchy and short fused. So that was definitely, I would snap on him. So that's something that I had changed, and I grew patience while in prep this time around. Um, I guess listening to him as well. Um, I love when we out of like off season, we always eat dinner together, obviously. But in prep, I'm eating something totally different than he is. So I make sure I line my meals up so I'm able to sit down, eat dinner with him. We're able to talk about how our days went. Um, that's something that definitely changed this time. And then letting him enjoy whatever he wants to eat. He's not in prep, so why does he have to eat healthy and not have ice cream here and there? So those are the things that I had learned that would make our relationship better while I'm in prep.
That's awesome. Especially because you hadn't like had that experienced and being in a relationship and being in prep and like learning as you go and being able to
Mm-hmm.
step back and be like, wait, I want to be with this man and I want him to support me, but how can I expect that if I'm not willing to continue to give, essentially?
Mm-hmm.
I feel
Yep.
like that takes a lot of courage to recognize. And I think it's awesome that you did do that and that it's then, improved the relationship and then probably even improved, I imagine, the experience you had in that prep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Definitely.
Love to hear that. And I appreciate you sharing that too. I mean, honestly, like just a lot of what you shared is very real and it resonates because it's something that people listening can say, you know what, that's something I'm going through. I want to apply that, or I hadn't thought of life in that perspective before. And or whatever it might be, this is how I'm going to start trading now. I need to start pushing to the point where who knows what happened just now. So I
Yeah.
love that you're willing to talk about all these areas of life. And one thing I'm noticing about you is you're very consistent.
Yes. I
That's
try to
cool.
be.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
definitely.
so a lot of people don't talk about their relationships in prepping. I think that's something that a lot of people keep quiet. But I mean, I don't think our relationship, no relationship is perfect. And throwing prep into it really amplifies things that could happen, I guess.
Mhm.
So that's, I mean, it's normal that your relationship may take a toll during prep, but there's definitely ways that you can work through it to make that relationship last. So,
Definitely. And like communicating as well,
yes,
because
that is big.
there's things that you do in prep or that you need in prep that might be different, or even like my boyfriend will be going through something or focused on something, and like I recognize that certain needs or desires or things that I have or I'm asking for maybe can't be met to the same degree as if that certain thing wasn't going on. And that's the same for me if I'm in a prep. There's certain things that maybe I'm not 100% present to because I'm so invested in the competition prep, but like I also am really grateful that my boyfriend's seen me through all the shows, like because we started dating before my very first show. It was like actually really nice because he's known me to be this way forever. Um
Mm-hmm.
and I think there were times where it was challenging to like make those shifts, and I give you a lot of credit for being able to like say, okay, I want to prep, but I also want to be with him. And so this is what needs to happen to make that better. And, you said earlier you're in it for the long run. So it's like, what does that mean for you in your life then?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's just something I have to, if I'm in it for the long run and he's going to be in my life, those are the things that I have to do. I have to still be in a relationship 50-50 and give it 50-50, even though I'm in prep and everything else in life as well. So,
Totally. Like it's not taking a back burner. So with that said, I'd love if you could leave us with, and you've given us lots of great advice and insight, but is there anything you'd like to say to a girl who has never competed before but's thinking about it, and then advice for someone who's on their road to pro?
yeah. So, a girl that's never competed, I always recommend trying it, like trying anything. If you don't like it, it's okay, but at least you tried it. So that's what I would recommend. And also go to a show, see what it's about. Message someone on Instagram, message me on Instagram and ask what my experience was like or what it's like competing. And then do your research on coaches. Reach out to coaches, interview coaches, and find the one that fits best for you. And then a girl that's on a road to pro, it may be a short road, it may be a long road, but don't give up. It took me 3 shows to turn pro and 3 national shows to turn pro. If you don't place well, get your feedback, go back to the drawing board and keep on working hard. But again, life's too short to give up on this goal you have. So keep pushing. Don't give up.
That's awesome. I love that. And you haven't given up, which is so cool because you're a true testament to that. And you're representing so many women who have had doubt or have had thoughts that they wouldn't succeed. And you've proven yourself wrong and you've shown that you can. So can you let everyone know how they can reach out to you? Because I love, by the way, that you're open to having those conversations. So maybe how they can connect with you or contact you to work with you as well.
Yeah. So my Instagram is Emily_Plajer, Plajer. And then my website to do posing. And then if you're a tall girl and want to join the Tall Girl Gang, it's jointallgirlgang.com.
Awesome. Okay, cool. I'll make sure I put all of those links in this show notes page. So you guys listening, that's always on celestial.fit/podcast. If you scroll down to the category section on your mobile, you can click Emily Plajer under that. Everything's in alphabetical order. Of course, if you're listening to this right away, it'll be at the top of the page. And that includes all the show notes with episode timestamps. So if there's something where you're like, oh, what did she say about what happened in her pro debut and the feedback that she got? Okay, well, now you can actually see where she talked about that. So hope you guys enjoy that. And if enjoyed this episode, definitely tag us after you've listened with some of your main takeaways, letting us know what you think. And I always appreciate the ratings, the reviews, the subscriptions. It means so much to me. I love that you guys love this show. And I'm always open to feedback, suggestions, and athletes you want to hear on this show. So thank you guys again. And Emily, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Of course. Yes, I'm glad. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you're in the world while you're listening to this episode.